Not a ton of offensive prowess displayed just yet by the Lions. Initial opportunity was seen with Vogel's attack, cutting inside, but nothing was born from it. So a little bit of a slow start on the offensive end for the Lions, but with how strong they are in the midfield and up front, there's going to be some chances generated, guaranteed.
Tanner Beam on a header. Racing for that is Mattis. And Bobby Wood coming out of the goal here will make the grab. For just joining us, Eric Edmondson, Simon Johnstone with you. Contest between Johnson and Wales, Wildcats, and the Piedmont Lions. Header there, and a little bit of expletive screamed. Referee explaining something to Finelli. Finelli getting a talking to by, say, one of the captains for this Wildcat squad. Vogel trying to win this one. He's in some tight coverage. Beam tried to no-look pass it over to Vogel. Mattis right off the knee. Gets put on the brakes here. Very physical here in this little spout. Ricardo Ruiz unable to hang with the ball, and the players will have to backtrack here as it gets deeper into Lion territory. Jacomb's on it. So is El Shweidi as it gets deeper in the box. Good slide by Jacomb. Will clear it, and it'll be a throw-in. Fantastic defensive effort there from Jacomb. We've seen him already twice put his body on the line to get himself in front of that attacking opportunity. This time, not only does he shut down that chance on goal, but he gets it out wide to a throw-in instead of a corner, so helps them breathe a bit of a sigh of relief when it comes to dealing with this next offensive attack from the Wildcats. Really phenomenal job by Jacomb. He's been so good in the backfield along with Mattis the entire season to this point. Beam and Nowak on that ball. And the Wildcats setting up for a corner kick. Nicholas again in for Tyler Morgan for the Wildcats. Cross into the box. Bobby Woods right there. Gets the paws around it. And a huge boot. And a yellow card. Wonder who that was given to there. Referee pulling out the book. On a Wildcat player, not exactly who, but cause of it, of course, is jumping in front of that punt. Dangerous play. Doing so because Bobby is not only putting his leg on the line, but the other opponent who got carded is putting himself in trouble as well. So dangerous act, and it's going to result in a yellow for one of the Wildcats. Parker Davidson, the recipient of that yellow. Now we'll have another stoppage of play here. Not sure what that one was for. Yeah, no telling. Curious what exactly accrued there, but regardless, seems like a second chance for Mr. Wood to send one up to his front line. Where they await. It's Grant, Vogel, Nowak, and Pescaru. This one looks like it was meant for Pescaru, but falls a little short. And the Wildcats at midfield look to pounce on this opportunity. Jacomb charging for it. So is Wood. And it slips past him. The ball is still loose. And an incredible job by Boris Bosick.
What a defensive effort. This back line for the Lions have been absolutely spectacular this far. Bobby Wood extends out, tries to shut down the cut in. The Wildcat gets inside of him, sends it in what looked to be a guaranteed goal, and next thing you know, Boris Bosick shuts it down with that slide. So fantastic job by this back line of the Lions. Each one already performing with a highlight play thus far.
Dylan Steves has to be beside himself on that one. Bosick seemed to fly in out of nowhere and really save the Lions' skin there. Looked like Pescaru on that block, as it'll be another corner. So the Wildcats have given themselves multiple offensive opportunities. Lions have also had deep drives, and that one's put out by Bobby Wood, so we'll do it again. But Lions really unable to just kind of secure this ball away and really go for a drive of their own.
Bobby Wood himself, such a difficult task to get through. We already talked about that defensive line for the Lions, but he himself is a tough customer when it comes to getting a goal past him. He's already had 14 saves so far in this season, so he is active, but he also doesn't let anything in. He's only allowed 1 goal in the 3 contests they've had thus far, so a great job and a fantastic last resort if you're the Lions defensive squadron, because even if they get past all the firepower and star power that back line has, Bobby Wood is sitting right there ready to shut down any other attack.
Really such a luxury to have that in the net, especially when you have as strong as iron defense that the Lions do. Looked like another save there. Lions just having trouble collecting this ball and clearing it out of the box, and just more continuous pressure being put on the defense and Bobby Wood. As the Wildcats lining up for another corner kick. And that'll find its way out. And finally here will be a goal kick for Piedmont. So Bobby lines up for it. He's going to find Christy Pescaru. Good trap by him. Trying to move his way in. He'll back pass it to Boris. Bosick to Oswady to Mattis. And across the pitch to Tanner Beam. Nathan Jacome on this. Back to Tanner. Jacome wrestling for that one. Beam finds it and tries to put it through. And Beam, a little bit of a shove there. Didn't like that one. You'll let him know. Beam plays with such ferocity in the midfield. He loves getting the ball. He loves the competition in there, and you can tell. It'll be Oswady taking this one. Huge cross into the box, looking like. Nowak trying to trap it in front of him, and looks like a foul will go, or a throw in rather, will go Piedmont's way. Another throw in, Nowak along the line. Wildcats trying to steal this ball away. Back inside, Grant tries to get it to Vogel. Vogel unable to really put a lot of gas on that one, and Starr will make the grab.
Finally, some signs of life here for that Lions offense. It went a bit dormant after a strong start in the very beginning of this first half, but Grant cutting inside, looking for Vogel. There are some signs of life, some possible opportunities with those cut-in chances, so keep an eye out for Grant and Vogel making a move inside.
Yeah, and the Lions usually able to use their physicality and use their kind of brute force, but they're running into a team that looks at this point to have the height advantage and maybe the size advantage over them. So it might just come down to the technical skills of this Lions offense. Ricardo Ruiz getting that one. Looked like a Wildcat tried to sell that one a little bit. Beam. Ruiz back on it, but it'll be cleared back through. Nowak. Big punt towards the middle. And time here.
Have another offsides call against the Wildcats. Going to give Bobby Wood a chance to extend up, send a couple lines forward, look to shift the momentum back in favor of those white jerseys.
Grant and Vogel have been very good. They're getting the passes to each other. They're kind of finding where each other is. And unfortunately, they've been right in line with Wildcats to this point. So just trying to find those shooting lanes, and a phenomenal tackle by Bosick. Al-Swaidi to Mattis. Mattis, long way over to Jacome, but he finds him. Jacome finding open on the right side. A ricochet and a clear by the Wildcats. And a throw in on the good side of the pitch for the Lions. Nowak will throw it in. It'll be Grant on the receiving end. Wildcats try to fight for that one on the line.
Wildcats doing a great job playing on the defensive end, shielding off Grant or Vogel, who are trying to get around them, but doing a great job letting the ball just roll out, using their frame, their size on the defensive end to make sure that they cannot get past them.
20 minutes and 30 seconds left in this contest. Or rather, not this contest, this half. Goodness. Looks like Mattis taking this throw in. It is him. And a huge throw in into the box. And unfortunately, the height advantage for the Wildcats working. The net is open. If you can get it there, you got yourself a goal. But unfortunately, Lions unable to. Looks like it was bounced out by a Wildcat, so it's going to be a corner kick here for the Lions. They're setting up towards the back end of the box. Here it comes from Pescaru. Now they charge in. Curved inside. Jacome tried to soar in and put it to the back of the net, but unfortunately header a little high.
Great look in towards Jacome, who had the back door open, just a little bit too high of a ball there for him to get his head up on top of it, but another great ball sent on in by the Lions, and the Lions starting to build a bit of momentum towards the latter end of this first half. Keep an eye open for those runs in the back, as Grant and Vogel have been extremely active thus far, and the rest of the supporting cast of the Lions have been fantastic as well.
Yeah, it's kind of what the Wildcats were doing on the opposite end of the pitch, just kind of continuously putting pressure on that goalie and getting corner kick or opportunity after opportunity in that affair. Fortunately, however, the Lions unable to score on that one. We'll take a brief hydration break here.
left.
19 minutes, 33 seconds left in the first half. 3 substitutions to tell you about for Johnson and Wales. Luke Johnson comes in for Antonio Terranova. Teague Torguson, I'll have to look at that later, in for Alex Tsoukalis. And Eugenio de la Parra in for Ahmed Gosha. So everybody will return to the pitch here. No substitutions to this point for the Lions. So same set out there. It's Vogel, Grant, Nowak, Ruiz, Pescaru, Al-Swaidi, and Beam, Mattis, Jacome, and Bosick. And there's a substitution. So Pescaru out, and the big man Jonathan Ferdinand finds his way in. Grant returns to a wing. So it will be Ferdinand and Vogel spearheading this offense.
And that's a combination I love to see up front. A little bit more power, a little bit more of a sizable frame up in front. Grant now able to use his agility a little bit more effortlessly on the wing, trying to cut around defenders. And with the combination of Vogel and Ferdinand up front, it's almost like power and speed, the two dangerous types of players up front, are going to combine here for the last part of the first half.
Lions kind of letting the Wildcats pass here, letting a play develop, seeing how they can advance upon it, and I don't think the net's up there.
Just a bit high on that shot attempt.
Yeah. That almost took a trip to the Mize on top of the hill. Looks like another substitution here. James Cash is going to come in for Boris Bosick. So Cash will take his place on the right side of the pitch. And you mentioned just the physicality that you get when you bring in Jonathan Ferdinand. You saw it a little bit there. And an incredible tackle by Mattis, and he'll clear that up. Mattis looks to have lost something on that kick. Ferdinand wrestling with it near the line. Now Nowak will press up on it as the Wildcats look to play back in the defense, and they'll pass it back to Starr. Towards the right, Cash on the other end of it. Here's Grant in a familiar role, trying to win that 2-on-1. Vogel. Colin using some trickery to find his way up. He'll have to do it again as he wrestles with it near the line. Juan Santana Rita on that one. Stealing the ball away. Now Asuidi getting tripped up there a little. Mattis pulsing through, finding his way, gets it to Nowak. Nowak on the outside of the box goes for a cross. It's inside. An attempt by Mattis to fly in for a header. Missed it just by a little. And now Grant back on the wing. Vogel trying to find somebody inside. It's a sea of blue. Mattis another header, and it's going to be recovered by Starr.
Two great offensive attacks there by the Lions. Mattis on the tail end of both. First one looked like a flying scissor kick, just a little bit mistimed there, and then he gets right back up. Vogel with a great cut inside and follows it up with a fantastic slide there to swing it out of bounds. But Mattis keeping himself up on that offensive end, gets another header, and it just gets deflected. So a great job by the Lions to start generating a lot of pressure here against the Wildcats.
Already just such a exciting game to watch. Both teams seem to be going 100 miles an hour. So if you have any Piedmont friends or family or just soccer fans in general, tell them to tune in right now, as looks like we're going to witness just an absolute competition between these two squads. Ferdinand on the right side. Trying to get it to Vogel, goes right through the legs. Vogel, a back pass. Thought Grant was behind him. Little miscommunication there. And the Lions will have to reset.
Good vision by Grant. Just seemed to be a tale of two different ideas between Grant and Vogel. Vogel thinking Grant was going to continue his run that he saw at full speed, but Grant, on the other hand, shuts down the pace and looked for a layoff. So unfortunate miscommunication there, but another great attack generated by the Lions.
And it's really kind of adapting on the fly here. Of course, you have the Lions defense, which has been working at their usual standard all game, but you also have this offense that has really adapted. Nowak and Ferdinand looks like has been the move to this point, really, that big power and height advantage that he has over a lot of them, really working in favor of the Lions as they've gotten a lot more opportunity with him up there.
And I think one hidden benefit about Ferdinand is obviously he's got the height, 6'5", and he's quick on his feet. But the fact that he's so big draws multiple defenders toward him, because 9 times out of 10, he's going to win a 50-50 against one of those guys. So he's bringing in multiple defenders, which frees up opportunities for Vogel or Grant on the other wing. So by drawing people over to the right side of the field, Vogel and Grant can kind of have more of a feast in a one-on-one scenario and opportunity.
Exactly correct, because we know how good Vogel and Grant can be technically. So you pull the eyes off of them, you pull the pressure off of them, and you see what they can do. And they had a really good opportunity there a couple minutes ago. Oh, Sweetie inside to Tanner Beam. Beam tries to cross it up, and it goes past Starr.
almost finding Vogel on that cut, and he looked to be through just a tough window to try and slot it in. But again, that offense is starting to find some life. There's a little bit more pressure, a little bit more possession hanging around on the defensive end of the Wildcats. So great job by the Lions to take it on the chin, deal with all the pressure that the Wildcats brought out in the initial first 20 minutes, and all of a sudden they're bringing it right back at them for the last 20. So it's been a great job by the Lions to shut down the opportunities that the Wildcats have thrown at them thus far and now start to bring it back at them.
We'll have some substitutions to talk about here. Evan Retzlaff will come in for Lucas Lesh. Ross Garrison in for Parker Davidson. Jacobo Arias in for Juan Santana Rita. And we're going to determine this one right here. Doesn't appear to have a name at the moment. James Cash able to get it. Cash near the line will be put out. Yomar Peguero in for Dylan Steves. There we go. 13.5 left in the first half. Ferdinand trying to win this ball back. Will give way to Nowak. Now Ferdinand runs over his opponent there. An unfortunate foul, but just goes to prove yet again how much physicality he can put down there on the pitch.
Another sneaky benefit with these quick players, all of the lines really can move at such an extreme pace. Their benefit is they can drop a little bit more heavy defensively, send a couple more bodies back because their counterattack is so strong that players like Grant, like Mattis can fly up the field, and all of a sudden instead of them having 7 in the back, they've got 5 up front and you don't even know how they got there.
Cross into the box, and a good job by the Lions to clear it. Wildcats looking to pass back inside, and they're going to find the boot of Mattis. Vogel trying to break away here. Ferdinand also over there. Ferdinand looking to win the one-on-one. Near the line, having a pivot here. Need to get something going before the rest of the Wildcat defense gets here. Now it gets back towards midfield. Al-Swaidi throws up a foot trying to defend it there. Mattis, now Jacome racing for it. Looks like Jacome's going to take this one, or at least try to block it up. And that will go into the net. Just a really bad cross up there for the Lions. Bobby Wood kind of froze. Jacome looked as though he was going to be able to handle it well. And the Lions are going to get put on the back foot here as they trail 1-0.
Unfortunate situation there. Great first ball sent in to set up that attack by the Wildcats, but after Jacome had to hustle to recover that cutback, remove Jacome from the situation, and Bobby tried to cover a far post shot, and the ball ended up going near post. So just an unfortunate situation for the Lions, but a good offensive attack by the Wildcats.
So now let's see how the Lions try to bounce back from this. Will it be to double down on the defense, or will it be to push the chips in for the offense? A little sneaky play there by the Wildcats trying to get it in. Jonathan Ferdinand now in possession of the ball, loses it momentarily. Ferdinand over to Nowak. Nowak, good trap there. Falls to the ground but gets back up. Nowak will pass it back to Bobby Wood. He's got the right idea, just tries to get some clearance. Wildcats pass it back inside, looking to make it a gap early. Right down the line, they'll pass it back towards the front of the box, and good job by the Lions to kind of put up a wall there and really block the sight line of the goal.
Seems like almost 8 of those 10 players out on the field are dropping back to help in the defensive effort. Only Vogel and Ferdinand are really hanging out towards the top, so giving them an opportunity for a counter, but other than that, everyone's dropping back, putting in as much effort as they can at the defensive end to make sure the scoreline stays at a gap of just 0-1.
Whistle there. See if it's a foul on the Wildcats. Looks like it's going to be. Grant gets past Vogel, and it's going to find its way into the Wildcat defense. Ross Garrison taking back midfield, and Starr now kind of just toying with Colin Vogel. Good job by James Cash to leap up and collect the header. Now it's up to them to get the ball back into the Lions swing. Mattis. Now Beam getting it to Grant. Grant trying to steal that ball away, back to Tanner. Ricardo Ruiz. Big clear here. Starr is out of the box, and they're going to let it fall back into his hands. Not a bad idea there, but just a little bit too much gas on that kick. 9 minutes, 20 seconds left. The Lions trail 1-0. Ricardo Ruiz steals that ball away, gets it to Grant. Grant trying to make some motion over on the left side, and it'll get put out. It'll be a throw-in for the Lions. And referee will allow a substitution here. Looks like Vogel is going to come out. It looks like maybe Danny Castro making his way onto the pitch. So Vogel getting a few minutes of rest here possibly before the beginning of the second half. And we'll see what opportunity that opens up for the Lions. Castro, not a lot of opportunities in this season to this point, but he can be dangerous. Jacome will have to play this one as it escapes a little bit into the backfield. Tries to find Nowak. He does. Nowak plays it off the chest. Trying to push it through. Wrestling with it. Jacome now sprinting up. Try to put it in the line. And Ferdinand trying to trap it as it'll get back towards the midfield line. Ricardo Ruiz and Al Sweety on the ball. Muhammad near the line, still trying to win that one-on-one, and they will pass all the way back to Bobby Wood. Wood will simply give it off to Mattis. Slide tackle attempt, and a good job of a shake-up there by Mattis. Castro tried to get on that one, but it gets punted back towards the Lion territory. Delroy Mattis back on it. It's wide open over there for Ricardo Ruiz. Ruiz tries to hit it inside to Ferdinand. Ferdinand plays it off ahead. Now let's see what he can do with it. Gets passed back towards midfield. Wildcats, short passes in between each other. 7 minutes left as Jacome flagging that one down. A slide tackle there, and it'll get put out and a throw-in for Johnson and Wales. So it looks like the Lions really have tried to go for that higher octane offense after getting put on the back foot early. And a good save there by Bobby Wood will just punch it right out of the air.
The Lions have definitely shifted their strategy of attack coming towards the end of this first half. Initially, they were kind of doing some build-up, playing through Grant and Vogel and trying to get some players cutting on the wings in the back, and all of a sudden it's now trying to find the point man of Ferdinand and working around him and trying to do as many quick balls over the top as possible. So, interesting shift of strategy. I thought their initial strategy was working great, but we'll have to see if anything can find themselves a goal in the back of the net come the end of the second half.
And Bobby will just collect this one, and he'll try to get on a breakaway early as Grant, before a lot of the Wildcats get down, and an aggressive tackle there is going to stall some time. Grant tries to cross it to Jonathan Ferdinand. Whistle there. I believe it's going to be a foul in favor of Piedmont. As Grant slow to get up from that tackle. 5:30 left. Piedmont perhaps being granted one of their better opportunities to score here in the closing minutes. Looks like it's going to be Tanner Beam taking this one. So Beam lining up for a large one. Chacon calling for it. He's back towards there. Don't forget about him. Everybody racing towards. Big header by the Wildcats. Still a lot of time for the Lions to make an effort here. Castro now has it. Castro near the line trying to push his way through. Over to Grant. Grant in the corner trying to find the box. It'll get put out, and I think it's going to be a corner kick. .430 left. Corner kick coming for Piedmont. Here it is. It's really low and inside, and it gets put out of the box quickly by the Wildcats. Grant lets that one roll out, and it'll be a throw-in for the Lions. Wasting no time, gets it to Al Sweetie, who tries to get it back into the box, and a clear by the Wildcats. And Tanner Beam will try to find an avenue to get back in. James Cash also on that one. They'll pass it back to Bobby Wood. Wood, huge clear. Castro tries to leap up into the air to put a head on that one, but it's going to roll all the way back and be a throw-in. .340 left. And the ball will be called out there. And it's going to be a throw-in for Johnson & Wales. Beam, header directly to the ground. And that'll be out. So with 3 minutes left, the Lions really trying to put together something. They've had a couple of really good opportunities, but haven't really just been able to put it all together just yet. In the air. Header by Ruiz. Cardo trying to control that one. He takes a tumble and into a barrel roll. Hops back up. Beam flies in out of nowhere and blocks that ball. Cash trying to win the one-on-one. Wildcats kind of just playing keep away right now. And now there's a wide open area towards the back part of the box. And a whistle there. It should be an offsides. Huge cross by Bobby Wood. Castro plays it near the hip. Puts the brakes on it. Pushes forward. Wildcats cross. And it's out of here. Al Sweetie will prepare a throw-in. And we're just under the 2-minute mark. Back towards midfield. Wrestling with that one, trying to find a way through. Looks like Nowak. Big cross. Good job to play that one by Beam. It'll be a foul on Johnson & Wales, it looks like. Also 80. Near the line, put out, and a throw in.
1 minute.
Just a minute. The Lions going to have to do something quick here if they want to tie it up. Ferdinand. He'll be out once more. Quick throw in by Piedmont. Beam. Header. And a good job by Cash. Or excuse me, Nowak, to make sure it doesn't get any further. Al-Shawidi gets slide tackle attempt, trying to steal that ball away. Wildcats just really trying to maintain possession. Now on a breakaway is Castro. He tries to find Grant. It'll get put all the way back to Mattis. Mattis plays it on a touch and tries to pursue back towards midfield. And Colin Starr is going to take care of this one, and that is going to be the end of the first half. So an unfortunate defensive miscue has led to the Lions trailing 1-0, and really a lot of what they tried has now been isolated and contained by Johnson and Wales, mainly Jonathan Ferdinand.
There was a lot of signs of life by the Lions throughout that first half, most notably the two attacks that Madison had, towards the end of that first half. One a flying scissor kick, the second a header, both not exactly finding the target, but the Lions are most effective when they cut inside, when they start that attack out wide, utilizing their forwards to bring everyone else up, swinging it out wide, then finding the middle with a cross. They have the height inside with Ferdinand. Sometimes you see Jacome up there, especially on those free kicks. He's sending himself from the defensive line all the way up into the attack. So it's not like the Lions are short of offensive opportunities. They're just struggling to really generate that one clear shot that they could have. On the other hand, the Wildcats looked to be getting shut down for the majority of the half. Sure, they had a couple more shots on goal, a couple more shots overall, but ultimately it was that one little miscue where Jacome stepped up a little bit too far past his line, let the Wildcats slip on behind, and the next thing you know, a near post goal results in them leading 1-0. So it's still definitely anyone's game with both sides producing a lot of offensive opportunities, but right now it's going to be the Lions that are going to have to figure out a way to claw back and even the score and even jump ahead in this second half.
You're exactly right, Simon. It did look like what they tried the first half was really working with Vogel and maybe Grant, but then you substitute Ferdinand for Grant and put Grant back on the wing, and you really looked like you had a winning combination. But it looked like the mentality kind of changed towards the back half of the first half to maybe just kind of do these short passes, and if you can get inside, if you can get that opportunity on a goal, go for it. But more than anything, shut down the Wildcat offense. So we're at half. Teams will meet, and we will take a break here. You're listening to the Main Event Broadcast Network on YouTube. 1-0 at halftime. Back here at the second half, 1-0 lead for the Wildcats. And a familiar line out for the Lions. Couple of swaps. Colin Vogel back out there. Ricardo Ruiz, Danny Castro. And along with a new member of this offense, it'll be Nico Eberhardt taking precedence over the right side. Al Swady moving up middle half. And we talked about before we went off the air at halftime was just this offense needs to kind of get back to that plan they had towards the beginning of the game where they were just so effective at just pushing inside and putting that pressure on. And a lot of that comes with Vogel coming back in the game.
And the stats don't fully back up how much pressure they exactly exuded against the Wildcats. Statistically speaking, they only had 2 shots on goal in that first half. But for the middle part of that first half, between the 20 to 40 minute mark, it was all Piedmont hanging out in that Wildcats half, and a lot of opportunities were being created. So if they can slow down the tempo a little bit, look to find that person cutting in the back line, that's where they're going to be the most successful. And with Vogel back in, like you said, I think this is their best opportunity yet to try and attack.
Foul there. And you talked about the 2 shots on goal, and both of those definitely coincide with the 2 corner kicks that Piedmont was able to do. And that just shows this Piedmont Lions group is so good when you angle the ball into the box. When you're going off a set piece or maybe even just on the free run, just angling it back in, they're so good at just striking at those awkward position moments where the Wildcats or really any team is unable to get their roots in. Pascaru's going to be the one to take this free kick. And let's see what they can do here. It's a good one right into the box, but right in line with the head of a Wildcat. Now Pascaru is going to have to hop back on this. And now racing for it. Winning the foot race at the moment is Eberhardt. Eberhardt comes up limping a little bit from that, trying to stretch out whatever he ailing from there. That was a really good job by Nico to just fly towards that ball, as he was going to be the only coverage besides Bobby Wood that the Lions were going to have in that situation.
Good combination by the Wildcats there to set up an opportunity, but even better defense by the Lions to shut it down as a ball flies in there, cleared by Madison. An aggressive play by one of the Wildcats is going to connect boot to body and going to bring down the foul against the Wildcats.
Yeah, it looked like James Cash was the recipient of that unfortunate kick. Good cross to Vogel, but he's unable to get the verticality on his opponent. And a foul there. Eberhardt will chase.
Eberhardt going to send that one down the right field sideline. Grant on it quickly, followed by Vogel, who's contested by 2 Wildcats. Going to get jostled around a little bit. Couple header exchanges, and we're going to have what appears to be an offsides call against the Wildcats. So Lions able to catch a bit of a breather here and reset the attack. Matt is going to send that one in, intended for Vogel, not to be. Vogel now going to add some pressure, along with Grant, the 2 strike force that we saw for the majority of the first half until Ferdinand checked in. But these 2, as we mentioned earlier, their speed alone is so devastating to any defense. So give them an opportunity in the open field and be ready for what's to come. Wildcats now having a chance to come back down the field. Ball going to be sent towards Jacome. And all of a sudden, another goal by the Wildcats. I didn't exactly catch what happened. But all of a sudden, the deficit grows to 2-0 in favor of the Wildcats. Line appeared to have had a miscommunication there. And as the Wildcats race off celebrating.
It looked as though the Lions were kind of throwing up their hands saying, okay, was there a missed call there? Vogel especially looked quite confused, but Finelli, puts that towards the back of the net, and just a really good cross by the Wildcats. But just both of these goals have kind of come at a miscommunication, or rather just Bobby Wood's so used to having the defense there for him to back him up. But unfortunately, both of them have just kind of froze them this afternoon. And it's 2-0.
And it's been so unfortunate because with both of those scores that they allowed in, the rest of their defense has been stupendous. They have moved well, communicated well, been such a presence, and all of a sudden, 2 little lapses leads to 2 goals against them. And next thing you know, there's another opportunity here for the Wildcats getting thrown into the box, then cleared out by Cash.
And of course, coming into today, the Lions have averaged about 4 goals a game, and that is obviously bloated by a couple of blowouts. But really, you getting 2-0 behind at this point with the amount of defense and show that the Wildcats have put forth, you really can tell it's going to be a lot. It's going to be a very high mountain to climb for this Lion offense to really get to it, and something that they've just been unable to get the engine going to this point.
Slow start once again. They had this same problem in the first, but it didn't render any goals this time. It's going to bite them a little bit, and they're going to have to deal with another goal to be behind. Wood now going to swing it out to Jacome, hoping to generate a little bit more of a tempo, a little bit more of a pace where they can move the ball. Castro going to contest, gets it off of the leg of a Wildcat and able to retain possession here. Eberhardt going to throw it in back into Castro, who's going to look towards the middle. Wildcats doing such an impressive job of mounting up the pressure. The slightest overtouch by any of the lines result in a turnover. But with Eberhardt looking to fly through a group of Wildcats, going to draw the foul and set up a free kick opportunity here.
Eberhardt went down clutching the right ankle. He seems to be okay, though. Obviously a little bit smaller frame than a lot of the men on the pitch right now, but I mean, that's what happens. You got a lot of speed, and unfortunately it looks like he just collided there with a Wildcat team member.
Piscaru on the ball, looking to swing this one into the box. Almost every line up there going up for the ball here. Mattis, it looked like, or Grant, couldn't exactly catch the number, went for it, and unfortunately no dice on the goal. It appeared to have been Mattis there with the near attempt of the header.
Yeah, Mattis has really been there anytime there is a cross in. It's kind of been the game plan, because this is not like irregular. They've done this before in the past couple games where Mattis comes in and just tries to boot that in however he can. It's worked a couple times, but none such this afternoon.
Ball going to go in deep. Wood's going to come all the way out to the top of the 18 and get a hold of that, shutting down the counterattack, which was looking towards Finelli, hoping to bag his second of the evening or afternoon. Header now going to be played out. Ball is going to jostle a little bit till it finds the feet of Elseway. Out over to Eberhardt on the wing. Swinging it back in. No white jerseys exactly near there, but Castro comes flying in, connecting with a Wildcat, and it's going to be against Castro on the foul.
I'm not sure if there was any touch there. He might have had a wrestling match with the Invisible Man.
Bit of theatrics for sure, but regardless, here's Finelli on the back, going to be contested by Mattis. Our vantage point doesn't exactly give us the best view of this back left corner, but Mattis is going to go down to a challenge to Finelli. It's going to be Lions ball. Likely Wood's going to send up a brigade forward to try and recuperate this attack. Wood taking his time. Lions trying to utilize as much space as possible. Keeping the width of the field is so crucial when playing a team as well structured as Johnson and Wales. And that kick not going to find the body of a Lion, so it's going to be Wood's goal kick once again after being cleared out by a Wildcat. Wood sending his defenders up, looking to bomb this one a little bit further towards midfield. Castro looking to be on the end of it. Gets a touch. Eberhardt now doesn't find the foot, and all of a sudden Mattis and Finelli going one-on-one here. Good head back to Wood, and once again, that offense is shut down. Like we've been saying, the defense has been good. They've been very solid thus far. Just a couple of lapses, and all of a sudden they're facing a 2-goal deficit. But other than that, they have played a very strong brand of defense thus far.
And you look at the box score, you look at the 2-0 at the moment, and it doesn't really tell the full story. The defense really has played exceptional, but like you said, just a couple of miscommunications and a couple lapses, and that's how quickly these good teams can really advance upon you if you're not just tighten it every single time.
Good contest there. Eberhardt now jumping towards it. In comes another. That's going to be another foul call, this time against Nowak, Ball going to fly out to the other side, left sideline. Going to be out for a Lions throw-in.
And right there you had a foul, and we've talked about previously this Lions group has had to kind of wrestle with the fouls those first couple games versus both of the Owl teams. They were very aggressive. They were really going for it. But as we've continued, we've gotten a lot cleaner, and right now it's a 11-5 in fouls for this afternoon. Johnson and Wales have shown just no remorse. They have gone in. They have been very aggressive. They have gotten the fouls, and it didn't really matter to them. But this Lions group has been a very conservative, but also they've been very good in playing with those fouls, as there's another one called on the Wildcats. Finelli, the man who got that one right there, and Finelli getting a talking to by the referee. And Finelli pleading his case, and the ref still giving it to him.
Finelli getting scolded for kicking the ball after the foul was already called, wasting time. Ref going to tell him he's not having any of that today. Handball going to be called here, allowing the Lions to move the set piece just a little bit closer toward the goal. But what the Wildcats have done so well, and I think what has generated a lot of the struggles for the Lions on the offensive side, is right on the moment that the Lions touch the ball, there is pressure on the behind from the Wildcats. And I think that has generated a lot of quick turnovers, a lot of heavy touches by the Lions, because they're there to capitalize at any sort of mistake. Ball being swung in there, not to find a head, and it's going to be contested on the far right side corner. Wildcats come up with possession, trying to clear it out, finds Finelli. Good little 1-2 there. Ball played in deep. Is he onside? Don't know, but Wood, way off his line, is great at stepping up and does just that. Fantastic clearance. Mattis now high up in the midfield, looks to take on a couple of defenders, gets pulled down, and we're going to see another foul call, number 13 here today. So, as you mentioned, Eric, Wildcats not afraid to get called for a foul, not afraid to use their physicality to shut down an offensive run like that.
No, and what I'm kind of picking up here is, like, maybe a lot of the Lions, they've kind of said, okay, they're not afraid to play aggressive. Maybe if you start taking this maybe in sort of like a basketball approach, trying to draw these fouls and open up these opportunities for yourself. We've seen a lot more of those at a higher frequency here in the second half, and it certainly continuously opens up these opportunities. And eventually how potent this Lions offense can be. You figured one's going to find the back of the net, and you see Pascaru lining up for one right here.
Pascaru going to swing that one in, looking for the head, and it's going to connect, but unfortunately not going to render a goal. Good attempt there by what I believe was Cash, but unfortunately no dice on the back of the net. 33 minutes left of play here in the second half. Lions have found a lot more life of the offensive end here, but just not yet generating that golden opportunity like we've seen for the Wildcats thus far. Starr going to play the ball into the midfield, flicked over towards Finelli, who's going to be called for offside. Another thing we haven't talked about exactly is the Lions offside trap, specifically how well structured their back line is to not let one shield off of the other and keep trapping those players making runs behind, has been spectacular.
Yeah, 6 offside calls to 1 against Piedmont, so 6 for the Wildcats. They have really tried to get the ball deep every time, just maybe a little bit of over ambition there on the Wildcats' part, just trying to drive deep into the line defenses. And that was their 7th one of the afternoon.
Vogel was the intended player to receive the ball, as Castro going to come from behind, take down what looked to be a Wildcat, excuse me, and that might just result in a yellow card for Castro, and it will.
It looked like there's been a lot of just kind of shoving and very contentious between these two teams to this point. We've seen a lot more physicality and a little bit more aggression going on, and unfortunately for the Lions, this did not play out in their favor, as they're going to be put into the coals of the fire here. Star out to hit this one as the Lions line up to protect Bobby Wood. Just a short run from Star. Now the Wildcats maneuvering. This ball stolen away.
This
now
is a golden opportunity we may have been talking about.
Vogel, some footwork, pushing his way in, and it'll be cleared out by the Wildcats. Jacome off a knee. Beautiful. Now Al-Swady.
Ball going to be thrown in here by the Wildcats. Al-Swady on the contest. Wildcats now into the left corner of the Lions' own defensive end. We're going to see a goal kick call, which to the eyes of the Wildcats is going to be egregious. We ourselves couldn't see exactly what happened, but since it's a Wildcat or Lions goal kick, it seems to be the right decision.
We certainly like those calls. Now a conversation being had between Jacobo Arias and the official.
Grant now contesting up in the midfield, swarmed by a couple of Wildcats in their blue jerseys. Wildcat going to roll it back. Now looking for Finelli, who's got the ball against Jacome. Finelli throws it at the far post. Wood lets it go, and that's going to be another goal kick. Good shadowing by Jacome to not give him a window to shoot.
Things got a little close there, and Bobby Wood has had his moments this afternoon, but overall has still continued to be very structured and very good at being that goalkeeping, that big presence.
30 minutes. Just 30 minutes remaining here for the Lions. 2/3 of the game is gone and done, and yet to find the back of the net for themselves. But like we've been saying, opportunities have found themselves as Wood put under heavy pressure here. Going to get out of it just fine. Wildcats retain possession, swinging it out down the right sideline. They've got Finelli in the end box. Another trailer looking for him, not going to find him. Lions send everybody back except their two forwards, and they get the clear.
I'm a little surprised we've gotten this far and not seen an appearance from Jonathan Ferdinand as we saw in the first half.
Al-Swady gets a good interception there, drops one of the Wildcats, looking to push it to Vogel and Grant, neither of which is going to find the foot, put it behind both of them. Unfortunate miscommunication once again. Eberhardt looking to capitalize, though, to Grant on the right sideline. Grant mounting pressure. Ball going to be flown downfield over to Mattis, who gets a nice head on it. Mattis and Finelli going head-to-head. Castro, good shield. Beats through one. Still with it. Looks to find Grant on the right sideline. He's going to find him there. Couple of bodies going into the box. Back post, going to find the hands of Colin Starr, who's going to roll it out immediately. Good defensive play there from Colin Starr, jumping off his line right away.
And something we haven't really mentioned since the kind of beginning of the first half, the beginning of this game, is Vogel charging for that one. Good slide there, but it'll be out. And it's the absence of Davis Knight and the absence of the midfielder, and really kind of the pulsing heart of that midfield is Jason Asin. Not on the pitch today, hasn't seen any minutes. He was here today, so I wonder if he has some sort of injury or something or another, but not getting a start and not getting a substitution either.
It's unfortunate when you don't have your full brigade out there, but the line's depth is very strong. A lot of players can move to different spots, fill roles that are needed, and unfortunately today just lacking a little bit of firepower up front and unable to facilitate really in the middle. So it's been a lot of out wide attacks trying to swing a ball in, which is yet to render any goals. Mattis going to win the 50-50 initially, but ball going to be sent downfield. Eberhardt versus Finelli on a one-on-one. No players else is near. Great shielding from Eberhardt. Even going to draw the foul. That's fantastic defensive effort from Eberhardt. Great job constantly blocking Finelli and not letting anything come back. All he did was waste time there, drew the foul, and didn't let Finelli have any chance to get the ball from him.
Eberhardt getting the start in the second half, and he has just been really stellar on the defense, providing a lot of extra speed in the backfield, allowing Mattis to kind of move into a rover position and just move his way up, as he is so versatile the further you move him up the midfield.
Ruiz going to swing it out to Alsué. Mattis now over to Cash. Cash going to find that ball to no one but a Wildcat player. Alsué, good contest there. Mattis now on the ball. He's going to bring it up the midfield. Couple of options here. He's going to find Eberhardt, And story of the day, miscommunication once again, this time between Grant and Eberhardt, neither of which knew whom exactly was going to take the ball, resulting in another turnover. Jacome, good contest up high. Early pressure resulted in him getting that ball. Good move there by Jacome. Way to stay calm. Swings it out wide to Cash, who's going to bring it up the left sideline. Cash going to look for Castro, found him. Here's Vogel on the ball now. Vogel trying to generate something out wide. We know how fast he is. We know how technically gifted he is. He just needs that one extra ball in. Looks to find Cash, who's found himself all the way in the other box. And that's going to be cleared. Lions going to keep possession here. Keep up players forward too. Only one defender is going to stay back. Scratch that, Eberhardt's going to drop back as well. But most of those lines are headed forward. They believe this is the time to strike. This is the time to shove a couple more chips towards the table and make sure that they can capitalize on this opportunity.
Yeah, and you can tell Mattis really winding up, and it's going to be a long one.
Mattis looking for Jacome there, one of the tallest players on the pitch, not to be. Castro, good header there. Jacome still over there, heads it. He's going to be flagged for offside. Unfortunately, he did get the head on it. He did get the shot on goal. Good save by Starr regardless, but no dice once again on those set pieces. They have struggled to really get that beautiful open shot on those set pieces, so maybe a couple more cuts in behind, a couple more long runs could be the answer to how well this Wildcat defense has done thus far.
And we've talked about it all game long, this kind of underlying theme, not only just the foul, not just the miscommunication, but there is a quite obvious stature differential and an advantage for the Wildcats on the pitch. And usually Jacome and Mattis, who are mostly head and shoulders over the rest of their competition, they've been challenged, really. And they've just really been unable to leap up in the air, get the head on that one, and in some cases get the flying boot on it.
Wood going to pop out of his box, grab that one with ease and punt it forward all the way up to Vogel. Good find there. Vogel going to try and retain possession, potentially swing it out wide. Good cutback there. Drops two defenders. Vogel now with the ball, looking ahead to Grant. Grant on over, out wide, and it's going to be shut down. Pass was intended for Pescaru, but just didn't get there. Good clearance once again by the Wildcats. But you can start to see a little bit more signs of life, a little bit more energy popping out. Vogel had a great move there. You saw a lot more players flying forward. They're starting to recognize those attacking opportunities. And one of these times, the door will be answered as Mattis rolls up once again for a deep throw.
Carter Bonini in for Alex Tsoukalis for the Wildcats. And it looks like they have three more substitutions waiting in the wings.
Lions likely to shift a little bit more players forward. It seems like Jacome is starting to get a little bit more involved, heading on upwards. Same thing with Eberhardt. They are almost playing a defensive midfielder role, rather than a full-on defender. Obviously, soccer is such a fluid sport, but when it comes to a situation where you're down 2 goals, when there's less than, I believe, 25 minutes left, it's a tough situation where you really have to figure out, okay, how many people can we send forward without it really sacrificing our defensive structure? Grant now going to try and add some pressure to the Wildcats, not to be. Cash, great deep header over to Vogel. Vogel tried to get hands on it. Not quite, but Grant now with the ball going to roll out of bounds. That's going to be another goal kick.
Yomar Peguero in for Andrew Finelli, so number 5 out of the game for the moment for the Wildcats.
2 new lines as well are going to be checking in for this second half.
Looks as though it'll be Philip Nowak, and can't get an eye on man on the very left side of the pitch. Looks like Devin Parker checks in.
Wildcats now looking to play a ball down the left field sideline. This could be dangerous. Nowak hustling back to shut it down. And it's going to result in a corner kick in favor of the Wildcats. Madison, Jacome, 2 players who have played all 90 minutes thus far, all the minutes thus far, closing in on that 90-minute mark, have been the 2 Stonehenge defenders thus far. Parker picking up a player here now, but with how tall they've been so crucial to shutting down the air attack, because this Johnson & Wales team is one tall bunch of players when it comes to soccer players. It is a heightened group that when any ball goes in the air, they have a strong chance of getting their noggin on it.
21:33 left in the contest.
Wildcats setting up once again for a corner kick. They've had an abundance of corners thus far, nearing 10, if not passing that number thus far, and looking to swing one in. A lot of players standing on the line looking to congest that goal line, making life for Bobby Wood as difficult as possible. Referee going to say, keep your hands down, I believe, to captain of Johnson & Wales. That's going to be Ahmed Goshe. Play about to be resumed. Here we go. Ball going to be swung in by the Wildcats. High ball up. Bobby Wood flies off his line, and great punch out there. Clears the line, and all the line players fly up forward.
Yeah, Bobby Wood landing the haymaker on that one. The ball's going to have a bruise in the morning. And good save by him. That was the 9th corner kick for the Wildcats. And now you see on the Lions sideline, the big man Jonathan Ferdinand getting loose.
Could be the surge of energy and the surge of power and size that the Lions need on the offensive end. Cash going to throw this one in, trying to find Grant, not to be. Parker now contesting back to Grant. Cash, good pressure. Johnson & Wales, good cutback. And we're going to see a foul called against Mattis. This time in a dangerous spot, just about 25 yards. Make it 30 maybe for that free kick.
Yeah, you like to see that from Mattis. Just a little bit over-aggressive on that one. But he's such a good defender, you can let that slide sometimes.
Johnson & Wales setting up once again. Lefty free kick taker. Looked to be going for the goal, but unfortunately the goal is not 50 feet tall, so that is going to sky past the post and going to result in another goal kick.
Yeah, he really wound up for that one. Not sure where he was aiming.
Ball going to be swung on over for the Lions. Now out to Cash. Parker making a run down the left field sideline. Cash looked for him, couldn't exactly get it there. Ball going to be jostled around near midfield, and it's going to result in the possession for the Lions. holding on. They're going to need to start making a push if they want to salvage a win out of this game. Still down 2 goals, minutes continuously ticking off the clock. Parker now going to be taken down by Wildcat. No foul call there. Ref letting them play on. Cash going 50-50. Wildcat player is going to win that one. And Wildcat player is going to send it to the back of the end line.
Substitution we missed. Anthony Bonilla in the game. Number 14 in midfield.
Looks like we're going to have our little break for water. The heat and humidity forever increasing. It's a toasty one here in Demarest, Georgia today. Currently looking at an 80-degree day, but humidity itself has been tough. 66% humidity has been brutal. Bobby Wood cooling off with his water bottle, and everyone else doing the same on the sideline. We'll take a brief moment to step away, but when we come back, the resume of the second half, and you'll get to see the entirety of it to the tail end, where drama may just ensue. Lions trail 0-2 here at Piedmont University. Quick resumption here from the game. Mattis going to have the ball. Sends it on over to Parker. We're going right into where flying downfield. Parker still with the ball, trying to come out of the water break early and aggressive. They do just that. Star, though, not going to have a problem picking that one up. And we are back. We have a just over, I believe, 20 minutes left in this game. 2-0 is the score in favor of Johnson & Wales Wildcats. Another opportunity here. Cash going to shield for Wood and eventually clears it out. Good defensive hustle there for Cash. And Eric, if you are the Lions head coach right now, what is the game plan to try to take over and perhaps score a couple goals here in the latter end of the second half?
Well, I think that move has already been made. As you see Jonathan Ferdinand in the game at midfield, him being in the game really, like we said earlier, he's a distraction, if anything. He's going to pull guys off of Vogel. He's going to pull guys off of Grant and really open up an opportunity for that. And so just maybe getting the ball to them, period. Maybe getting him a couple short passes in between him and Vogel. Any sort of traffic that you can get up there. Obviously, that's easier said than done, but maybe just more contentious, more getting put directly onto that ball.
You're absolutely right. Ferdinand is such a beacon of attention on that offensive end. And what we saw towards the end of that first half was Grant getting shifted over to the wing. This time, it looks like he's getting fully subbed out for Ferdinand. But now Vogel and Ferdinand up top is such a scary combination that we got to see a little bit of in that first half. But Johnson & Wales don't seem to be going anywhere anytime soon. They continuously have the ball in the defensive half of the Lions. And while they've held on tight throughout this second half, we saw that just one little lapse of concentration can result in a goal because Johnson & Wales has been so technically sound and crafty when given those opportunities.
They really have been the ultimate opportunist as a group and just going on anything they can. Very sound, and Lions really trying to move any sort of anything to maybe even conjure a draw or a win here to keep that loss column very lonely.
Cash going to be taken down from behind, going to result in a foul 9 times out of 10. Wood Going to roll it out to Mattis here, trying to build out from the back. Mattis can bring it all the way up to midfield if he wants, but this time going to lose it so early inside of his 18. Lapse of concentration once again, and next thing you know, it's 3-0 for Johnson and Wales. Bobby Wood cheated a little bit off of his line, trying to cover that cutback. The Wildcats saw it and just slid it into the net. Once again, it's been that lapse of concentration. They've been so strong defensively, and then these little moments happen where this time Mattis wanted to bring out just a little bit further, loses it. 2v1 scenario happens, and next thing you know, the ball is in the back of the net, and the blue jerseys are out celebrating. So, heartbreaking second half, 2 goals allowed in just 2 horrendous ways. The Lions are going to have to recuperate fast if they want to try and salvage anything out of this game. And let's see if they can try to generate a little bit more offense, a little bit more consistency, and a little bit more control with the remainder of this game. Just over 15 minutes left to see what they can do. It's been a tough second half.
Yeah, Mattis is usually very hard on himself. Just kind of got broken away there, but, I mean, Mattis did try to push out. He did overextend a little, but Jacome, also shaking his head on that play, was absent as that got booted away from Mattis, and the man-to-man coverage was just not there for the Lions.
Vogel now on the attack, and it gets shut down. Ball was looking to be over the top. We're going to see an injury on about the midway line. Wildcat player going down and out, looking to be substituted off here. Trainer's immediately out to his aid. Appears to be what could be a left hamstring issue while he is moving within his own power and own ability. He was down for quite some time, so hopefully he's doing all right. We're going to see a new Wildcat check on in here.
It looks like James Howell coming off, and it looks like Finelli maybe coming back in.
Of course, with any injury or stoppage of play in that situation, we're going to see a drop ball. Wildcats likely to clear it back to the Lions out of courtesy, or not. Wildcats may have had possession when the play was stopped, which is why that would happen. Lions, though, looking to mount some pressure here. The tail end of this quarter, or half, excuse me. Ball swung out down the right sideline. Cut back in to Johnson and Wales midfield. Not to be. Ferdinand now trying to use his body. Baits the Wildcat player into sending it to the sideline. That's going to be a throw-in.
And obviously, the Wildcats are very aware of Jonathan Ferdinand, as he has not had a role at all since entering the game. And more or less, that's by design. A lot of the coverage has been on the Lions side of the field, but obviously Ferdinand being such a target, they know what the Lions are going to try to accomplish by getting the ball to them. So just keeping it away from him seems like a Wildcat priority.
Good job by Jacome there, shutting down that offensive attack by the Wildcats. Jacome once again with the header, clearing that one. And while Jacome has been solid through and through, as we're going to see another offsides call here against the Wildcats. Jacome has been utilizing his size on both ends of the field all day, and it has benefited heavily because, like we talked about earlier, Johnson and Wales is a fairly tall team, and with Jacome and Mattis in their back line, they're able to clear out a lot more opportunities. Wood now on the dead ball, going to set up just past the 18 inside of the D. Going to swing it on out to Alsué, who's going to move it over to Nowak, who's going to lose the ball. Counterattack once again in favor of the Wildcats. Swinging it on through. One-on-one chance. Great block by Mattis. Good hustle back from him as it looked to be another Johnson and Wales golden opportunity to score. Lions beginning to sputter here towards the end of the second half. It has been all Wildcats for the majority of this half. Just insurmountable pressure has been building as more and more players flood the 18 in the box to try and get ahead on this one and increase the lead to 4. Lions keeping 2 players up at the midway line, that being Vogel and Ferdinand. But attention here on the Lions 18 as ball is going to be swung in by a Wildcat. Wood once again punches it out clear to Parker. Parker going to swing it on up. Vogel hustling to keep it in play, does this, that. Vogel now all the way on the 18 of his own, loses it, and all of a sudden another counterattacking opportunity here for Johnson and Wales. Tackle from behind, going to be a foul called. Johnny Cash has taken a couple of those today and has popped up from each and every one. Tough trooper that guy is.
With just under 15 left, around 13 minutes to be more exact, I'd really like to see the Lions maybe go a little bit more aggressive on the defense. If they are getting these balls taken away from them, go for that tackle. See if you can punt it out and just really disorient this Wildcat offense and see if you can muster anything up as Parker takes a slide there.
Lions hoping to find some form of a counterattack, but the Wildcats have been so strong in the back end. They've played very connected, moved as one entire unit, which has shut down any of these counterattacking opportunities because once one's back, they're all back, and next thing you know, you're facing 7 defenders instead of just like 2 or 3. Wildcats now, speaking of a counter, looking to take advantage. No offsides on throw-ins. Lob was the idea to lob Bobby, but that's a tough and tall order for any player to do. The 6'4" goalie going to say not today as that ball sails way left of the goal.
Yeah, Bobby Wood doesn't usually let those things happen, especially when it's something contesting his height. He's really able to get around on it.
Looks like Grant is going to be checking in for Parker, as well as I believe Castro may have just moved back into play.
Vogel and Parker. No Vogel still. It looked like maybe Vogel was walking out towards the sideline, but no, he's still well in play.
Lions with possession once again, trying to find the head of Vogel, going to clear over his head. Ball going to shift in possession of the Wildcats. Lions unable to keep the ball for very long all of this second half. Not a lot of build-up play going on, and it's been a lot more run and gun, play a ball deep and try to run onto it, which has rendered minimal results to say the least. With just 10 minutes left in this second half, not much time left for these Lions to build something back. Wildcats going to throw another ball in deep. Cash on the end of that one. Great clearance there. Ball looking for the back post. Bobby Wood says thank you very much and gets 2 gloves on that immediately. Wood now going to launch it to the tall 6'5" Ferdinand. Not to be on the end of that. Wildcats now back in possession, but a lot more Lions are headed upwards, trying to add more pressure. Jacome on that one, shutting down the Wildcats' transition. Ball trading hands constantly here. No team really holding on to possession. And a little bit of theatrics is going to reward Johnson and Wales with the ball. Another free kick there. Foul going to be called in elsewhere, but I'm not too sure about that one.
Very frustrating on that, as when you started off this second half, you knew it was going to be a little physical, and the ref was allowing some playthrough, but an obvious flop there by the Wildcats, just trying to get any opportunity. Just frustrating.
An attempted bicycle goes awry for the Wildcats. Not exactly close, as Seagun was on the end of that one trying to flip his body towards the goal, but not to be. Bobby Wood now trying to send as many players forward as possible. Officially under 10 minutes left in this contest. Time is waning and possession is seeming to never be in the body of the white jerseys of the Lions. Cash going to throw it back in this time to Vogel. Vogel loses it. And back over to Seagun as he's got it now for the Wildcats. Ball played around. Wood gets control of it and swings it on out to Nowak. Nowak with some space, looks downfield to Grant. Grant going to try and cut inside. no good, but does keep possession after the challenge does lead the ball out of bounds. Grant going to toss it on in. Heavy touch there is going to result in a turnover, and the Wildcats now moving heavily in transition. Segan on the break, but once again caught offsides. It seems to be his third time getting called offsides. Ref giving a talking to Segan, I believe, in response to him kicking the ball after the offsides. The next thing you know, one more side comment and he gets a yellow. Segan now, second player booked for the Wildcats under the same situation too. Both players were kicking balls after the ball was dead, just unnecessary acts, and that's going to result in a second yellow card.
The referee kind of looked a little baffled that there was another word spoken to him. So just immediate book there. Just kind of stopped and stared at him like, really? All that? And now the referee having a talking to with the head coach for Johnson and Wales.
And I don't exactly know what there's to argue or contest. I mean, the ball is dead. There's no need to try and waste time kicking it away. It's within the ref's rights to do so. So I'm not exactly sure what the complaints are, but Wood now going to look for Ferdinand, who at some point, I don't believe it was Ferdinand, it might have been Castro, who found himself on the ground, got called for a foul, which is going to shut down that ball towards the Wildcats' end. And Eric, as we're winding down, I just want to hear your thoughts about what exactly the Lions, what happened, I guess. You know, it was 1-0 going into the half, and you blink, and next thing you know, it's 3-0 with really no opportunities for the Lions to score.
Well, obviously you don't like to make excuses, but they are playing two starters down. And I'm not saying those individuals who replace those starters are any less in talent or skill, but usually when you have those two people in that you're so used to, you have that chemistry that runs, and it looks like this is just a bunch that maybe did not have the chemistry on today. A lot of miscommunications, a lot of great opportunities that were kind of put up set and looked perfect and right to score on, just kind of disappeared past them and just could not materialize. So, I mean, we've said it time and time again, at the end of the day, it's just going to be miscommunication and just really unable to put things together. But this is something they're going to have to deal with, and it unfortunately looks like maybe a rude awakening for this bunch that has kind of come up with nothing but good things to this point in the season.
Yeah, the start of their season, as we talked about at the very beginning, was very impressive. 2-0-1, 2 wins, 1 draw, as we're going to see another yellow handed out to Johnson and Wales. This time handed to number 9, Lucas Lesh. Not exactly sure what that was for, as
one of the day.
I didn't see what occurred, but ref not afraid to show what color is his favorite, as Wood now is going to have another dead ball to kick. But yeah, speaking back to what you're saying, miscommunication is definitely the word of the day. It's not like the Wildcats had constant pressure. Sure, they generated a good amount of opportunities, arguably a lot more than the Lions, but the thing is, none of those were really serious threats except for a couple slip-ups here and there, which resulted in those goals. The little miscommunication between Jacome and Wood, the little overextension from Mattis that resulted in a goal. Those situations are what cost them 3 goals like that. So I think it's rare that these sort of situations happen where you play such a well-structured game, especially on the defensive end, where there were a lot of great defensive plays. Mattis throwing his body on the line, Jacome throwing his body on the line. We saw that multiple times in the first and second half. But the couple times you had this little slip up, and Johnson and Wales capitalized, as Lions now almost put one away, as looked like Vogel was about to slot one away. Jacome now going to clear that one and shut down Johnson and Wales counter. But yeah, just those minor miscommunications are what resulted in those 3 goals. Lions, though, starting to show some signs of life.
And this is exactly what was really missing. I'm not sure, because they've had all the pieces all afternoon, but this is really just a really amazing push and presence they're putting on the Wildcats. And you see the Wildcats right here. They're being so desperate to try to clear this ball, they're falling over each other. If they could have just done this so much earlier on and set that precedence of being so aggressive on this side, not only are you going to look at more fouls on the Wildcats, you're going to look at just more slip-ups on their part. As when they were put on the back foot there, they started flopping on the ground.
Yeah, absolutely. A lot more mistakes were being shown by Johnson and Wales. Throughout most of the second half, especially in the start, it seemed like the Lions would turn over the ball and then Johnson and Wales would have acres of land to relax, set up their attack, figure out where they wanted to go. And then when the Lions turned the ball over, or when Johnson and Wales turned the ball over, it was kind of the opposite situation where they're immediately put under pressure. But the Lions have kind of flipped the script, tried to do a little bit more of getting on their back foot, getting on Johnson and Wales as much as possible, which has resulted in a couple more turnovers, a couple more time of possession, if you will, for the Lions. But yeah, overall, just not enough here today. Another ball getting slotted behind. We're going to see a penalty called, likely for a jersey pull, as Jacom's going to get a red.
And that is
on an offsides call.
That has to be ridiculous. I'm not sure who got the red, but if it is Jacome, I wonder why he had the red when the Wildcats have gotten three yellows on them all afternoon, and they've been constantly chirping at the referee.
If my interpretation is correct, the referee didn't see the offsides, so we're going to ignore and act like we didn't see an offsides. What the red card was for was because there was an open opportunity to score. The guy was on a breakaway, and Jacome was holding his jersey, limiting his movement. By taking away a scoring opportunity, that is usually going to result in a red card because you're the last man back. So it's a tough rule to deal with, but luckily he was offside, so we don't have to deal with a man down for the last 5 minutes or so.
A red getting pulled that quickly is so extreme when this referee has been getting chirped at all afternoon by Johnson and Wales. And not a single yellow card has been presented to the Lions.
Johnson and Wales trying to recuperate after losing that goal-scoring opportunity. Lions with a good clear. Vogel going to head it on down. Looks like Ferdinand's checked back out of the game for Grant. Oh, no, Ferdinand's back in. Excuse me. Totally missed him somehow. 6'5" frame isn't enough for me to see him on the field, I guess. We're going to have a stoppage of play as one of the Lions is down. I can't exactly make out who that is right now.
Might be Cash over there.
Looks like a right ankle injury of sorts. Trainer's going to be heading onto the field now. Maybe a cramp as well, as goalkeeper Bobby Wood looks to be stretching out the calf of the downed player. Hopefully nothing too serious, as you never want to deal with an injury, especially when there's so little time left in a game. Just under 3 minutes, as we're going to see. Is that Ruiz?
It's Ruiz.
Ruiz is going to be checking out, likely done for the day. New Lion going to head on in to fill the shoes for the last couple of minutes.
It's like maybe Cooper coming into the game. James Cooper it is.
Wood going to grab onto that one with ease. Going to try and send down a ball. It's desperation time now for the Lions, trying to generate anything they can. Grant now on the outside wing. Gets past a pair of defenders before looking for Ferdinand. And just too much behind him for Ferdinand to really get a good touch on the ball. Star now going to have a goal kick. Almost no time left. It's been a tough one here in Demarest for the Lions. Likely going to end in a final score of 3-0 in favor of the Johnson and Wales Wildcats. Like we said, it was just a little bit of miscommunication that resulted in those goals, and there were a couple opportunities for the Lions early, not much in the second half, but never finding the back of the net and never really able to put serious pressure on those Wildcats. Speaking of the Wildcats, though, a Rabona pass from Finelli. Not going to find the feet of any other player in the blue.
And when the Lions look back on this game, Wildcats still not going away as they're in the box. And a save there by Nowak. But when the Lions go back and look at this game, I think the one word has just kind of come up is frustrating. It's not that they've been completely outclassed, to be honest. I mean, you look at the one-on-ones. Obviously, they've been won a lot by the Wildcats, but a lot of chances they could have had, just unable to make that next great leap and just frustrated in the fact that you can't get through it. Obviously, you're going to have clunkers of games. It's going to happen over the course of a season. Just unfortunate that it comes this afternoon.
Yeah, and it almost felt like they were playing in thirds where, they'd have to deal with defense, and the next thing you know, they're jostling in the midfield, and then all of a sudden they're up top. But it never felt like they were fluidly shifting from each spot, as a strong opportunity for the Wildcats ends in a collision between one of the strikers and Bobby Wood. It's going to be a foul, nothing more than that, a friendly handshake between the two players. And there's under a minute left, around 30 seconds to go. 30. Finelli once again on the ball for the Wildcats. He's been one of their more active players, already bagged himself a goal, one of the 3 goal scorers today. Cash out wide now on the left side for the Lions, sending himself as far as possible. No holds barred at this point. Might as well go for it all. Johnson Wales on a counter. They have numbers. 4-on-3 is the attack. Swings it in. Bobby Wood off his line fantastically. Just 5 seconds left. Wood's going to hold on to the ball for the conclusion of this game. Our final score here today in the Lions' Den is going to be 3 for Johnson and Wales and 0 for the Piedmont Lions. It was a great battle where Johnson Wales capitalized on those opportunities that we talked about, where it may have been a realm of miscommunication or some form of that, but ultimately no dice for the Lions on the offensive end. Their record's now going to stand at 2-1-1, still 2 impressive wins to start the season off. This was their first real head-scratcher of a game. They're going to have to recover quick because they have another game coming up soon against Pfeiffer in just 3 days. That's going to be at Pfeiffer, so you will not be seeing a broadcast for that. But yeah, it's been quite a day of sports. We obviously saw the women's team play earlier. That ended in a draw between those 2 teams of Roanoke and the Piedmont Lady Lions. But other than that, Eric, I don't know if you have any final words for this match here today.
No, more or less just said everything that I think would just be brought up in the post-game discussions. Look, it's the 4th game of the year, and you close out the kind of first part of your home schedule. Not on the best note, but look, you go toe-to-toe with Barry, a team that has historically dominated you in the past. You go toe-to-toe with them, draw. You score 20 goals to open up your season overall. I don't think that the Lions are going to sleep on this very well, but when they wake up tomorrow, they're going to look at the record, they're going to look at the scorekeep, and they're going to get back to practice and say, look, this was one, got away from us, very unfortunate, but we got more work to do, more pressing matters, and much more important games than that were played today.
Yeah, absolutely. It'll be a tough pill to swallow, obviously getting shut out for the first time all year, but if we know anything about this Lions team, they are a resilient bunch, so it'll be good for them to get back out there in just 3 days at Pfeiffer on September 13th. So it's been a great battle here today. We appreciate all of you for tuning in. For Simon Johnstone, myself, for Eric Edmondson, as well as Matt Kudrowski on the camera, and the entire team led by Daniel Percival, we thank you so much for tuning in to the Piedmont University Athletics page on YouTube. Have a great afternoon and enjoy the rest of your weekend.